Aloha, I'm Reverend Tim Lytle, Senior Minister here at Unity Church of Hawaii in Honolulu. And we are so grateful for all of you who watch us on our YouTube channel. We know with you that as you view these teachings and apply them to your lives, that it helps to build your life into the very best one that can be imagined. If you're ever in the area, please come and join us for a service, and please enjoy the message that you're about to watch. Aloha.
And so we begin. We're at the end of October. Yes, it is the end of October, isn't it? And November is right around the corner. And everything must go. Everything must go. And so that's what today's talk title is about. It's about these things in our life that no longer serve our highest good and how to release it. And so sometimes the phrase, everything must go, can cause excitement. But then again, depending on what situation you're in, it can cause a bit of anxiety. Now, with the exciting part, I know whenever I see the phrase, everything must go, it's usually at a store, my favorite store, I hope. I know that Spirit's trying to bless my pocketbook and my bank account and my family through discounted merchandise, and so I accept that good. And I get excited for my good. But it's not that the retail or the outlet store necessarily wants to be a blessing to me. They know that what was once profitable last season is no longer profitable for the coming season. That it has to go in order to make room for the new inventory that is on its way. Because if they didn't, then they would have chaos and clutter and confusion. And believe me, anybody trying to make $1 out there does not want chaos, clutter, and confusion to be in the midst. You want that eliminated. You want things in order. I remember this time, Leilani, my daughter, who's now 15 years old, surprisingly, she grew up so quick on me. But I remember we were shopping one day. She was 3 or 4 years old and didn't know how to read or write. But we were pulling up to my favorite store, the one that offered me the wonderful clothes that I was looking for at the price that I could afford. And all of a sudden, in big, bold, beautiful letters, I saw it. Sale. And all of a sudden, Leilani in the back seat, she's like, "Look, Mommy, your store is on sale." Now, I turned around, and there she had written in crayon, S-A-L-E. She didn't know how to write mom. She didn't know how to write dad, cat, dog, no. But she knew that I valued sale. And so she learned quickly how to write things that were, I guess, pleasing to me. So I taught her well. So yes, we see it, we get excited when we see that something that was once full price is now half price or 75% off or whatever the discount is, because we know. And then we might get excited because there will be new inventory that we get to select from. And the agriculture business knows this as well. The farmer, there's a season for everything. So he knows or she knows that when they plant a seed in one season, in another season, they will have a harvest. And depending on the region, you may have multiple harvest seasons. And I know here in Hawaii, we have a season called the mango season. And some of you really enjoy the mango season. Surprisingly, I've never had or felt so much excitement over mangoes in my life, over fruit in general. Seems like In Hawaii, there's, lychee, any type of produce that only comes a certain time of year. People get excited about it. Here at Unity Church of Hawaii, our church administrator, Lisa Inslee, thank you, Lisa, for allowing me to use your name and revealing your identity. She makes the best mango cobbler out there. And absolutely, thank you for blessing me with your mango cobbler. Every season mango is in season, dear Lisa. And one of our volunteers, and also who is really helping us with the Aloha Sunday breakfast, Elaine Wong, she will bring in mangoes from her mango tree as well. And so for weeks, we have this abundance of mangoes. We have mango fruit pies and mango cakes and mango fries and everything mango. It's kind of like the Forrest Gump thing where Bubba was talking about the different types of shrimp you can make. Well, we have perfected it here at Unity in regards to mangoes. But then, as the weeks go by, I notice that there's a bit of a dread that starts to circulate around this island. Mango season's coming to an end. And what's going to happen to my mango quiche and my mango pot pies? You know, industries. I mean, empires were built on Hawaiian mangoes, apparently. And so people start collecting them, and now we have rations, and I can't get you to give me one at all. And so I had a visitor who heard about Hawaiian mangoes. We went to Safeway. No Hawaiian mangoes left. And I think there was some Guatemalan mangoes. And they absolutely refused. I couldn't trick them into believing that it was a Hawaiian mango. You taste the difference. So we know about seasons around here. So for every season, there is some type of harvest that we're reaping and yielding. So this works for the farmer as well, and he knows which season is the best climate and produces the best type of whatever product it is. And so he will plant or she will plant that seed during a certain time in order to get the best type of harvest. And that's what we have within us. We have these seeds. We have these seeds since the moment of inception. Seeds have been planted in our consciousness. And you will be able to tell which seeds have been planted in your consciousness by what you see appearing in the outer realm. Because one is the cause, the other is the effect. So we're planting seeds as farmers. They know about it. And I also noticed that when I was overseas, that there were actually definite seasons. Like the Christmas season, that's when the Christmas markets were up. That's when you could get your Christmas tree. I came back over to the United States, and in July, I got my Christmas tree, I got my firecrackers, and my Easter eggs. So we have the one season here, which kind of confuses things, because I thought there was supposed to be some order about this, but, we're the type of society that likes everything all at once. But this goes to show you that we have an ebb and a flow, that in this realm of things, things have this cycle that they're part of. And it's just part of the construct. There's nothing that we need to say or do or whatever. It just continues on in this manner without our input. But our participation is often required for it to continue on doing what it does. And because there's some excitement about the talk title, Everything Must Go, there's also times when this may be something that you just don't want to look at. If you arrive on Monday morning and you look at an internal email that says everything must go, termination, downsizing, what have you, it can spark some fear within you. Suddenly, your life is flashing in front of your eyes. How will I pay my bills? This is due. I just signed a new lease on. Things start coming up that you didn't even realize was there. So this phrase can mean different things to different people. And nobody really wants to see that in a Monday morning memo that they're downsizing and they may not have a job by Friday. And I think that's why companies actually send out those memos on Friday, right? Yes. All right. So depending on whichever end you're on, with this elimination, with this phrase, depends on how you feel about it. But then there's a third there's a third way of seeing this phrase, everything must go, and that is this inner everything must go. Anything that is no longer profitable to me must go in the new season. If it's causing me a heartache, if it's causing me pain, illness, lack, suffering, it has to go. And this season, that's what we're celebrating. November, here we celebrate this elimination, this renunciation, because we're getting prepared to step into a new year, a new season, a new us. And we have to let the things of the former go. There's not enough room for everything to fit in there. Two different energies cannot occupy the same space. Two beliefs cannot occupy the same space. There will be frustration in that. And we would always think that, you know what, this elimination, this spiritual path is always a pretty path with pretty roses just lighting the way and everything feels good and groovy. As Danny would say, I think, where's Danny at? He's a groovy type of guy. And so that's what he says. But it also causes us to stretch. In order to grow, we have to stretch. We cannot remain stagnant because certain things happen when we remain stagnant. So what happens the first thing in the morning? What do? We wake up. The body has been at rest for an extended amount of time. And without even realizing it, it automatically goes into this stretch position. And now, depending on the condition of your body, you may have a little bit of aches and pains with that. But afterwards, there is an expanded feeling in your body saying, oh, now you have the freedom to move about without restriction. And this is what we're being called to do in our own lives as well, is to stretch, to get out of this comfortable zone, to get a bit uncomfortable so then we can have our new movement and being in something that is more expanded. And believe me, it will feel better in the end. And stretching is necessary because no stretching means that stagnation is about to set in. And that's no movement. And with stagnation comes dysfunctional comfort. And you know that you're living in dysfunctional comfort when you stop acting on things, divine ideas. When you just live day to day, things are getting worse, but at least it's not that bad. At least I still have my home. At least I still get a phone call from one of my... Instead of thinking that I can live a better life, we stay in the job for 12 years and wake up with stomach pains, with additional duties, but not additional pay. We need to start looking at these things in our lives that are causing us to be sick, to be lonely, to be something other than what we were meant to be and created. We were created in the image and likeness of God. And when we don't step into that power, everything starts to shrink. We start developing coping strategies and addictions, and unforgiveness starts to set in. We start making excuses up for why we're doing the things that we do, and start looking out there and blaming people for where we're at in this world, because why things didn't happen for us. Instead of really looking within and understanding it can only begin with you. You have all the power within you to make all the difference in your life. Not your boss, not your children, not your mom, not your grandpa. No one else out there is responsible for your life except for you. And sometimes, thank you, and sometimes you're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to realize that there's a problem. You're going to have to know that, you know what, I really do deserve better. What are some beliefs that I'm holding inside that are preventing me to really live the life that I know I'm meant to live? And you know what you need to do. You see the fruits popping up. There's a cause for that. Look inside. Because I promise you, the moment that you try to fix something out there and point your finger, the finger is going to come right back at you. The moment you bring up an issue with her over here, the same issue will be found in your own consciousness, and the mirror will be shown to you. We have seen the enemy, and it is ourselves. And that's it. But we can make a difference in that. That means that we have all the power too. Because it's you, and it starts with you, it ends with you. You're the Alpha and the Omega in all of this. No one has taken any power away that you didn't give away. They don't have the power to do that. God has given you that a creative extension of itself. And when you try to give it away with blame or sorrow or feeling sorry for yourself, it's not going to work. Nothing's going to change. You'll start to get real uncomfortable real quick. So stagnation starts to set in. And you stop asking for these raises. And suddenly that idea that you had for this product, you see it 3 years later on the television while you're watching a commercial. That was your idea, wasn't it? But the person that put it or gave it life did something with it. Our inability to act is another thing that holds us back from our good because we're scared of something. There's some fear about failure or success, or fear of being right or wrong, or standing out, or not being able to fit in. And what is fear? Fear, believe it or not, and I don't even know if I'm following my slides right now, so thank you. Yeah, so fear is excitement with amnesia. That's what fear is. On a physiological level, everything that happens when you're excited, when your heart pumps, when the muscles, everything starts to react and stuff like that within the body, it is the same thing that happens when there's something fearful on the outside, when it looks like there's danger ahead. So excitement and danger are actually the same thing except for one thing. How you think about it, how you're viewing it. What does your mind say it is? Whatever your mind tells you what it is, it's going to be that. So then it might be a fear thing coming up. But you can change that. You can start talking to these things and call it excitement instead. I'm excited to be up here talking in front of everybody and dancing with Ralph. That's an exciting thing to do. I love singing. It's exciting. I am excited to go to that job interview. I'm excited to meet that new person. I'm excited to step outside of my comfort zone and to make friends and to make acquaintances and to build my network and to be something bigger than I was yesterday. This is an exciting time for me, and I claim it. And that's what we're being called to do. We got to claim it. And when you know what you're worth, this is another with these beliefs, because it starts with us. When you know what you're worth, you don't tolerate anything else that shows up differently. But guess what? This is the thing. The seed is in there somewhere, because if it's showing up out there, there's some type of seed within you. And like I said before, two opposing energies cannot occupy the same space at the same time. One has got to go. That's it. Either you got to go or it's got to go. But one of you can't stay here for too long because frustration is there. And with frustration is there, stagnation sets in. And then apathy sets in. And then with that, we have something else that sets in, atrophy. When atrophy takes a hold of your situation, of your health, of your finances, you got to wake up. Because atrophy is the cousin of dysfunction, is the cousin of stagnation, is the cousin, close cousin, mean cousin. And atrophy is only there for one thing. You see, in this world, we're doing one of two things. Life allows for either growth or elimination to occur at one given time. Everything must go. If you notice something happening, if you notice within a corporation, atrophy setting on, and you'll see it. Where there used to be 100 occupying, now 50 will be in that place. And when once there was 50, now there's 25. It will dwindle down. You will know by the fruits. That's it. You will see it happening. You will feel the energy. You got this infinite wisdom within you. You know what's going on. Don't act surprised when the news breaks about something that gets you uncomfortable. We're always called to action. When we see something, we say something, we do something. That's our job. We can't play small in our lives. If it's important to you, you do something about it. So there are some tools with this releasing that I want to go over today. And I call it the call it out, cast it out, and count it out. So we're going to go with the first one, call it out. So I mentioned before we might have been given seeds. We thought they were apple seeds. They were going to produce juicy apples. We were going to make apple pie later on in life with it once it yielded in our lives. And then suddenly we got pears instead. And nobody likes pear pies. I mean, okay, one person likes pear pies apparently. But so we see these fruits coming up, populating things, and then we realize that, oh, I have apple seeds when I thought I had, or I have pear seeds when I thought I had apple seeds in my mix of seeds here. And that's not really what I wanted to grow in my life. So we're called to identify first these things that are no longer serving because they are popping up. And if you see it, then you got it, is what they say, correct? So if you see it, then it's somewhere within you. And so once you see it and you identified the belief behind it, it's time for you to call it out. Lack. You cannot be in the space where my wealth should be. Unforgiveness. You cannot be in the space where my love could be. Sickness, disease, strife. You cannot be in the same place. You cannot occupy this space any longer. You got to go. Here's your eviction notice. You got to call it out. And once we call it out, once we've identified and said, you know what? It's time for you to leave. There's a new season for me. I feel breakthrough coming through. I feel elevation. I feel like rising, and you're holding me back. And once you identify it, once you call it out, you can cast it out. Now, before I go into casting it out, I'm going to go off of Scripture, Luke chapter 4, verse 30 through 44. And it might make some people uncomfortable because it uses the word demon in it, or unclean spirit. But I'm going to let you know that we can look at it differently. When we view the Bible, when we view these words that may be offsetting in a different light, in a metaphysical light, when we see what's really going on, we can use it for our good. And it's a powerful position to be in on the spiritual path. So, Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, Charles Fillmore says, demons or evil spirits are conditions of mind or states of consciousness that have been developed because the creative power of man has been used in an unwise or an ignorant way. Jesus did not admit for a moment that demons have any power, nor did he allow them to affirm power, but with the finger of God, he cast them forth. He concentrated the dissolving power of spirit upon them, and their hold was broken. Now, here on the islands, we say what? Spirit of aloha. You have the winner's spirit. So this is what we're talking about. And sometimes some people, you might see them after they've lost a game, and it looks like they're defeated. So they have a different spirit about them. And so we'll go into the scripture real quick. So when Jesus goes into the synagogue, he is confronted with a man with an unclean spirit. It says, now in the synagogue, there was a man who had a spirit of an unclean demon. He cried out with a loud voice saying, let us alone. What have we to do with you, Jesus of Nazareth? Did you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. And this is very interesting. So first of all, we have a man who felt it was quite comfortable to have whatever this unclean spirit was sitting in the synagogue in worship and praise, whatever, with the rest of the people. And that's really when we bring to holy places, which our temple is a holy place. Wherever we go, wherever we walk, we're on holy ground. But when we have this unforgiveness spirit or this condemnation or this blaming spirit, so this is what we're looking at. So this spirit addresses Christ because darkness does not like light. It does not like to say, oh, I got to go. Jesus says, be quiet. He rebuked him, said, be quiet and come out of him. He didn't talk to the man. You realize he wasn't addressing the man. He was addressing the appearance of something. He knew that his brother in that synagogue was the child of Christ, or a child of God, and had the Christ within, that they were no different. It's just that this individual in the synagogue took on a spirit of whatever it was. Sometimes we can call it the spirit of failure, whatever it looks like, but each one of us has had at some point in our lives some type of negative energy that we were carrying around. People can see it and feel it. That's why people, what's wrong with you? You know, it's like, nothing, I just wasn't smiling right now, but now that I think about it, let me give you my list. So when the demon had thrown him in the midst, it came out of him and did not hurt him. Then they were all amazed and spoke among themselves, saying, what a word this is, for with authority and power he commands the unclean spirits, and they come out. Guess what? That same power in the spoken word that Jesus has to drive out, to cast out, you have that as well. You can use the power of your spoken word. So when we were talking about calling out things before, lack, come out. You can do that. You do it with conviction and authority. When you identify something that shouldn't be there, or you no longer jive with it, it no longer aligns with what your purpose is or what you feel and where you feel you are going in life, you can call it out, cast it out. Use the power of your word. And that's what this scripture is telling us. And it's not the person that is the blame. It's just the spirit of something. They may be in a state of unforgiveness or whatever, but it can come out without harming us either. From nothing it came and nothing it goes back to. And so that's the good news. And now the last one is the count it out. Last week, Reverend Tim gave a what if upping. And so I'm going to give a little caveat to that I found really works well. And it comes from the 5-second rule. And this is what the 5-second rule is. It says, if you have an impulse to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will stop you. If you have an idea that just sounds too good to be true, you have to do some type of action within 5 seconds or your brain will start to deny it, will start to doubt it, will start to say why it's not possible. If you can act within 5 seconds towards it, you're closer to making it a reality. You have to put energy towards it. If you somehow in a meeting feel that you need to speak up and say something, say it. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, do it. Raise your hand, whatever, grab the attention. If you feel in the moment that you need a raise, if something towards your goal, and it comes forth in you, you have 5 seconds before the mind will say it's not a possibility, will start to destroy it. And that's what happens to a lot of our dreams, is we don't act within 5 seconds. Now, this is scientifically proven. And if you go to, and this, the 5-second rule was developed by a woman named Mel Robbins. It's not Tony Robbins' wife. Mel Robbins, she's actually a CNN correspondent, one of the most sought-after public speakers in the world now. 10 years ago, broke, marriage failing, things like that. And so if you get this book, and I had the audiobook, and I love it, and it is life-changing, let me tell you. My 15-year-old daughter, Leilani, she actually used it last week to prepare a different outcome for herself. Something was happening. She was always going to this negativity in her mind. So she did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop, positive outcome. And so she thought of a positive outcome every time. I remember one time she says, well, Mom, within 1 hour, I had to do it at least 50 times. That's fine. Then do it at least 50 times in an hour. Do it as many times as it takes to get your mind out of the stinking thinking and get it back to what God would have for you. And so that's really what it is. It's just doing these exercises. And then after you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, if it's the thinking that that's kind of stopping and preventing you, you can do that. And then you can what if up it. What if I really did ask for this? Or what if this thought that I'm having is really just preventing me from my highest good? There's a lot of tools out there to help us release the things that no longer serve us in life. It's all available. And for the next 30 days, as a congregation, I will have available online on our website at unityhawaii.org. During the Sunday Sermon Sum Up, you'll see every week we're going to start applying these tools. So by the end of November, we're going to have a transformative experience, not only as a congregation, but also in our individual lives. You will see a difference. It works because it works. It has no other. When you change, everything has to change. And so please join me for that during that time. So I want to do a prayer so you can close the outer eye at this time as we just speak over anything that is on our hearts that needs to go. Any situation, condition, a relationship, whatever it is, if it no longer serves the purpose of the Most High, if the seeds need to be replaced with the seeds of hope, Lord, give us strength during this time to make real differences, provide breakthroughs in lives, change the minds, change the hearts of those that wish to be in a different season now, that no longer wish to carry any baggage. Allow them to find the strength within. Give them the wisdom to let it go, to be free. Allow them the strength to see that is up to them. No one can do it for them. Guide, direct, and let it go. Let it go. There's freedom and release to let it go. The courage to be free, I let it go. Freedom is in me to let it go. We let it go. Freedom inside me to let it go. Change is up to me, so I let it go. The courage to be free, to let it go. I let it go. Thank you, and God bless. Okay.